Here's a wild thought. Humans have been having babies for 300,000 years. Hospitals? Those showed up like yesterday. We're talking the 1800s. That's it. So every single person who ever walked this earth before that, every farmer, every philosopher, every king and queen, was born without a doctor, without an operating room, without any of it. And yet, we didn't die out. We thrived. 8 billion people on this planet right now. So the obvious question is, how? That's exactly what we're getting into today. Okay, quick biology check. Most mammals, birth is pretty smooth. The baby comes out, done. Not us. Humans have two evolutionary upgrades that are honestly kind of at war with each other. Number one, we walk upright. Bipedalism is amazing, but it gave us a narrower pelvis. Number two, we evolved massive brains. Also amazing, but big brains mean big skulls. Big skull, narrow pelvis. You see the problem. Human babies also come out way earlier developmentally than other primates. If we waited until the brain was fully developed, birth would be literally impossible. So instead, we're born helpless, needing years of care just to function. The bottom line is, human birth needs skilled help. It always has. A chimp can give birth alone in a tree, no problem. A human doing that? Way higher chance something goes wrong. This is just biology. That's exactly why every single human culture, every one, developed some version of organized birth care. And that brings us to midwives. The word midwife literally means with woman. That's the whole job description right there. Midwifery isn't a modern thing. It's not even an ancient civilization thing. It's older than civilization itself. We're talking about an institution that predates writing, farming, cities, all of it. And we have receipts. Ancient Egyptian temples show birth scenes with trained attendants. The Ebers Papyrus, a medical text from 1550 BCE, describes birth procedures in detail. Greek, Roman, Jewish texts all discuss midwifery. A Roman physician named Cyrenus wrote an entire obstetrics textbook in the 2nd century that doctors were still using centuries later. But here's the thing. These texts were just writing down knowledge that had already existed for thousands of years in oral tradition, passed from experienced midwife to apprentice, generation after generation. No textbook needed. Okay, this one's genuinely surprising. And a little frustrating, honestly. Modern hospital, you picture a woman lying on her back, legs up. That's called the lithotomy position. It became standard in the 1700s, mainly because it was easier for the doctor to see what was happening. But here's the thing. It's actually one of the worst positions for giving birth. When you're lying on your back, you're pushing against gravity. Your sacrum, the bone at the base of your spine, gets compressed, which makes the birth canal smaller. Everything is working against you. Ancient women, they squatted, they kneeled, they sat on special birthing stools, they stood supported by attendants. And modern research backs this up completely. Upright birth positions mean shorter labor, fewer complications, less need for medical intervention, and, not surprisingly, moms feel better about the whole experience. Full squatting alone opens the pelvic outlet by up to 30% more than lying on your back. 30%? That's not a small difference. That's the difference between a smooth delivery and a really hard one. Ancient women figured this out empirically, just through thousands of years of observing what worked. And it did work. Here's what most people assume. Ancient women just suffered through it, endured the pain. No options. That's not really true. Pain during labor isn't fixed. It changes based on your mental state, how scared you are, whether you feel supported, whether you can move around. The neuroscience is clear on this. Traditional birth practice actually created conditions that naturally reduced pain in a bunch of ways. Being surrounded by trusted people you know lowers anxiety. Lower anxiety means less pain. Moving freely, walking, swaying, changing positions, helps with both pain and keeping things moving. Warm water, immersion or warm compresses, is one of the most effective non-drug pain relief methods we know of. Ancient cultures used it. We're just now rediscovering it in modern birthing centers. Rhythmic sounds, humming, chanting, vocalizing, activate real neurological pain relief pathways. Women across cultures do this instinctively during labor. And then there were herbs, real pharmacologically active herbs. Willow bark, the original source of salicylates, the compound class aspirin comes from, was used for pain across traditional medical systems worldwide. Certain sedative plants helped manage anxiety and promote rest in early labor. Was it as effective as a modern epidural? No. But it wasn't nothing either. Not even close. Okay, let's talk about this more because it deserves real credit. Ancient midwives had an entire toolkit of plants with real physiological effects on the birth process. They didn't know the biochemistry, but they knew the effects. learned through generations of careful observation. Ergot, a fungus that grows on rye, contains compounds that stimulate uterine contractions. Midwives in Europe used it for centuries when labor stalled. Those same compounds were isolated in the 1800s and became the basis for modern drugs still used in hospitals today to induce labor. Same pharmacology, ancient midwives just had the less refined version. Plants like blue cohosh and black cohosh, used by Native American birth attendants, have documented uterotonic effects. Shepherd's purse was used to slow postpartum bleeding through its vasoconstrictive properties. These aren't placebos. These are biologically active substances whose traditional uses line up with their actual biochemistry. That's not coincidence. That's thousands of years of applied pharmacology without the lab coats. One more thing that made ancient birth work. It wasn't a solo experience. Birth in traditional cultures was a community gathering. Female relatives, experienced birth attendants, trusted women from the village, all present. The birthing space was a female space, dense with collective knowledge and experience. This served three purposes simultaneously. Practical, multiple people to help with different tasks. Emotional, familiar faces reducing fear and keeping the mother calm. And educational, younger women present to learn, observe, begin their own apprenticeship just by being in the room. That last one is actually brilliant. In a world without textbooks or medical schools, the birth room was the classroom. Knowledge transferred naturally, automatically, every single time. I'm not going to sit here and pretend ancient birth was some perfect, risk-free experience. It wasn't. Maternal mortality rates in pre-modern populations were real. Roughly 1 to 2% of births resulted in the mother's death. That sounds small, but across 5 or 6 pregnancies, a woman's lifetime risk of dying in childbirth was somewhere between 5 and 10%. That's significant. Modern medicine, sterile technique, emergency surgery, blood transfusions, genuine pharmaceutical pain relief, these things saved lives. Full stop. But the story isn't ancient birth was dangerous and modern birth is safe. It's more complicated. The cultures with the best ancient birth outcomes were the ones with the most skilled, experienced midwives, the most flexible approach to individual labors, and the strongest community support structures. Skill mattered. Knowledge mattered. Community mattered. Some things haven't changed at all. That's a wrap on how ancient women navigated birth without a single hospital in sight, using body mechanics, community wisdom, real herbal pharmacology, and knowledge networks passed down through generations. If this kind of deep dive into how ancient humans actually lived is your thing, you're in the right place. More coming soon.